Hello everybody, welcome to Mandy's Madhouse. I'm Mandy and I'm mad. Whether that means angry or crazy, I'll leave that up to you. Today I'm going to be talking about a development that's in the works close to where I live. I'll show you what they're talking about doing to a field that's really close to my house. Particularly for this video, I am going to kind of dissect their traffic impact analysis. There's just a lot wrong with it, and so I will go ahead and get started. So first of all, let me introduce you to the site plan so you'll see what they want to implement on this parcel of land, and then we'll get to the traffic impact analysis. This is the site plan for the proposed development. Up here is a satellite photo of the area. This part here is a forest, all trees, and then this is a field that's right now it's just overgrown. These are the three sections. Lot A, they say, is for future development, not part of this special use permit. There's 28.12 acres. This lot 1 is a sports facility. This part right here is an indoor recreational facility with basketball, volleyball, tennis, pickleball, indoor sports and games. And then 12, you can count them, 12 outdoor tennis and pickleball courts. Over here at lot 2, we're looking at baseball, softball fields. This is 36.06 acres. And of course, this is where all those trees are that they're planning on cutting down. The rest of this is just more details of what they're proposing. The first thing I want to point out is how inaccurate their depiction of at least one of the intersections is. But Lawrence Road, 70 and 70 alternate make a triangle. They don't make a square. And Palmer's Grove Road shoots up north. And I know this is just to show the traffic flow in and out, and maybe it's just an aesthetic thing that doesn't need to be correct. So if you look at Google Maps, you look at Google Earth, Apple Maps, any of the maps, they're going to show that intersection or those roads, 70 alternate, and Lawrence Road make a triangle. And I found this US 70 multimodal corridor study that has a dozen maps with this intersection that all depict this intersection correctly as a triangle. Even the maps that are not to scale, that are just to show the intersections, still depict a triangle. But not according to them. So you can see that over and over again, repeatedly, they use this quadrilateral shape to depict the intersection of 70 and 70. I took one of their diagrams and adapted it on Microsoft Word, correctly depicting the intersection as a triangle, just to prove that it could be done. So here you can see the actual satellite view of the area. Here's my fourth grader's interpretation of the area. Here's my adaptation using Microsoft Word. Here's a version of pretty much every other published map. And then here's their depiction of the exact same area. It just shows that accuracy was not a priority, the traffic analysis. Another thing that makes me question whether or not anybody was really there doing an analysis, I'm looking at page 23, I'm reading straight from this report. As observed in the data collection, very little pedestrian or bicycle activity was documented. That's not accurate. There's a lot of bike activity. A bike club that uses Lawrence Road and whenever the weather is nice. I guess it depends on what your idea of significant bike activity is.
In a traffic impact study, the analysis area should include all the streets where site-generated traffic will increase the movement of vehicles through an intersection. This particular TIA failed to do that. This one only analyzed a few intersections, one being the intersection of 70 and 70 alternate, 70 and Lawrence Road, 70 alternate and Lawrence Road, 70 alternate and 86. Then it also analyzed the two proposed driveways to the site that do not exist yet.
So something else that's missing from any analysis are all the residential streets that are going to be affected by a large sports complex like what they're proposing here. So they didn't analyze Washington or Jefferson, Lanny, Ryan Road, Wingate. They didn't analyze Lawrence Road and number 10, which is that's a kind of a major intersection. They had a neighborhood information meeting a few weeks back, and I went and I asked, it's like, why didn't you analyze these other ones? The response I got was, we weren't required to. And so I said, so you did the bare minimum? And they snapped back and said, we did what was required. I called them out again for doing the bare minimum, but this isn't even the bare minimum. And I'll show you why. They analyzed this 86 and 70 alternate intersection. They analyzed it without taking into consideration that there's a piece of property right on the corner that has just been rezoned commercial. And here's a concept drawing of what a Durham developer wants to build right here on the corner. So any analysis of that intersection is only good until this other developer gets his dream developed. But who cares? I'll show you why. It doesn't make any difference if to the project that we're talking about, the Lawrence Road project, because nobody's GPS is going to take them there. I decided to see what direction somebody would have to be coming from to actually go through the 86 and 70 alternate intersection. So I started with counties. And Orange County is surrounded by Caswell to the north, Person County to the north, Durham to the east, Alamance to the west, and Chatham County to the south. And do you want to guess how many, if you put in directions from just the county, how many take you through the 86, 70 alternate intersections? None. None from any of those counties. Chatham County and Alamance County both take you through 86 and number 10. So there's two whole counties that, if you put in directions to the site, are going to go through these intersections that weren't analyzed. So then I decided to kind of shrink it in some, and I just picked an entity. I picked colleges, and I did Piedmont Community College, which is to the north, Elon University, which is to the west, Duke University, and North Carolina Central University, which are both to the east, and UNC at Chapel Hill, which is to the south. None of those entities took anybody through the intersection of 86 and 70, alternate 70, on their maps. You know, Apple Maps, Google Maps, MapQuest, none of those took you through the 86, 70 alternate intersection. But Elon and UNC both took you through 86 and number 10. And interestingly enough, Duke had an alternate route, and that actually took you down number 10 from the east, which I hadn't even thought about, but you can do that. So even one of the alternate routes from Duke brings you down number 10, but none of them take you through 86 and 70 alternate. So next I did different cities surrounding Orange County, and I made sure I made a complete circle. So I got cities to the north, to the south, to the east and the west, and areas in between. Out of the 15 cities that I requested directions from on Google Maps, none of them brought me through 86 and 70 alternate. Out of the 15 cities, 7 of them, so almost half of them, took you through 86 and number 10.
It's also important to note that if you are trying to get to this site from 2 of the 3 largest cities in North Carolina, the 3 largest cities being Charlotte, Raleigh, and Greensboro, directions given by a global positioning system from either Charlotte or Greensboro will navigate users through the intersection of Highway 86 and NC 10, which directly corresponds with the use of the intersection of NC 10 and Lawrence Road.
But again, these are intersections they decided not to analyze. So what I found is that none of the GPS coordinates, which is what everybody uses these days to find anything, will take you through 86 and 70 to get to this planned site, unless you are directly on Churton Street in Hillsboro. And even then, it's kind of a hit or miss. Because like Steve's, which is on the furthest north end of Churton Street, that takes you down 70. Weaver Street will take you down the 70 alternate and take you through that 86 intersection. Truist Bank, that takes you out, their direction takes you out to 85, which puts you on 86, and then you go down number 10. But across the street where the current HYAA ball fields are, that will take you down Churton to 70 alternate and crossing you through the 86 intersection. So unless you are right dead center of Hillsboro, your GPS is not even going to take you through that intersection that they analyzed. But probably 50% of people's GPS, if you're coming from the south or from the west, those GPS are going to take everybody right through 86 to number 10, and then from 10 to Lawrence Road. But these are the roads and the intersections they chose not to analyze. Okay, so we're going to measure the distance from the proposed site to a couple of these intersections. I think right about here is where they're planning on the driveway being. And just follow the road. This is 70 alternate down to, this is the intersection that they analyzed at 86 and 70 alternate. And you can see the distance, 7,239 feet. Okay, we'll remember that. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to measure the distance to these intersections that they didn't analyze. Okay, so this is Lawrence Road. I'm going to measure down to the intersection of number 10, 3,047 feet. Okay, now let's keep going on number 10 to the intersection of 10 and 86. 6,270. So both of those intersections are over 1,000 feet. This one is over 1,000 feet closer to the proposed site. And then here at number 10, this was half the distance, but they chose not to analyze these two intersections. I really don't understand why they chose to analyze this intersection of Highway 86 and US 70 alternate. If you go north, there it turns into Elizabeth Brady Road, and it dead ends at the wastewater treatment plant. There's a couple of industries back here, but nothing that's going to bring a mass of people. If you go west, you end up on Churton Street in downtown Hillsboro. East will take you back around to Lawrence Road and then to the site that is part of the proposed site. But if you go south, say between 70 and Highway 85, there are several businesses, but they're all specialty businesses. It's not anything that's going to bring a mass of people. You really have to have a reason to be here. I mean, it's an auction house, Tractor Supply, a couple of places to get your car worked on. But if you keep going south, and you're going to end up at Hampton Point, which is the largest shopping center, shopping complex. It has Walmart and Burger King, several fast food restaurants, several other restaurants. If there's a larger shopping complex in Hillsboro, I don't know what it is. At this intersection, 86 and number 10, it's going to take a mass of people to this place because this is the major shopping center. And it's also on everybody's GPS if you're coming from the south or the west, wanting to get to the baseball fields or this other sports complex that they want to build over here. That's where people's GPS is going to take them, right past this intersection. And then if you keep going south on 86, just a little ways, you end up at Waterstone, which is UNC Hospital. And then Durham Tech is across the road from that. So this intersection that they chose not to analyze is very much the more important one. Everybody's GPS, if you're coming from the south or the west, your GPS is going to take you through this intersection that, again, also services the hospital and a major shopping center. But they didn't analyze it. But they did analyze this one that's further away from the site and way less important. It does not make any sense. They were trying to hide the fact that they didn't want to analyze the important intersection. So they made it look like they did something when they really didn't. People who aren't afraid of the truth, they tell you the truth. And these people are not telling us the truth. They're just putting stuff on paper to make it look like that they did their jobs. And it's obvious they didn't. For about a month, every time I traveled the 86 and number 10 intersection and turned on the number 10, because that's the way I travel home, I recorded it. So here's a montage of different days, different time of days, different weather conditions, where I recorded my trip just through the 86 number 10 intersection to the number 10 Lawrence intersection, and then they generally ended at the 85 bridge. Just every piece of video is less than 2 minutes that it takes to get from the intersection of 86 and 10 to the bridge or to Jefferson Drive. I sped up the video so it looks like we're going 65 miles an hour. I'm not. I'm going 45. I've sped up the video for time's sake, just for this section. When I sign off, I'm going to put real time, the exact same trip, again, different days, different time of the days, different weather conditions, just so you can see. So when you get to that part of the video, you can choose to speed it up yourself, but it will give you an idea of how busy, how curvy, how hilly these roads are that they're intending on putting 1,000 more people on every day for the sake of these sports facilities, without analyzing the roads to see if they're safe to do that. So here's the sped up. Remember, Nobody's going 65 in these videos. It's the video itself is sped up. I think it's about 7 minutes long. I hope you enjoy.
Start the tour on Jefferson Drive. You can see there's a hill, and then it's a weird angle. Here's a satellite view. You can tell that's not a T intersection. It's more like a warped Y that makes your line of sight even less. It's looking south toward number 10 and the I-85 bridge. There's a hill there. Looking north, that one's okay. Now we're at Lanny Drive and Lawrence Road. You have to excuse my dog's head. So that's looking south. You cannot see. Looking north, it's not too bad. I'm pulling up. I'm right at the line. The hood of my car is right at the line. You're looking south, you cannot see. That's a very dangerous spot. You have about 7 seconds from the time you see a car and the time it is at your car looking south. And I'm pulling up, I'm even a little bit past the line at this point, and that's as far as you can see to the south from this intersection. Now we're on Washington Drive, and you can tell there's an incline on that intersection as well. That's the site straight across, or the proposed site. And that's looking north toward 70. That's south toward number 10, and it's good to know that that's where they are planning to put the turn lane. Is going to be right there, ending right before Washington Drive. So you'll have to imagine that intersection with a left turn lane right there at the south part of it. There's a hill there you can't see. Now we're on Wingate. We're facing north, so that's going to be southbound traffic coming around that curve. And we're facing south toward number 10, so that's northbound traffic. So this is Rhine Road facing south at northbound traffic. Coming around the curve again, and now there's another curve. Southbound traffic, where you only have a few seconds from the time you actually first see a vehicle till the vehicle is at your intersection.
And then there's this. On this road, NC10, between 86 and Lawrence. So again, this is where GPS is going to take people if they're coming from the south or the west. There's 0.6 of a mile between Lawrence Road and 86 for folks to travel. And within this 0.6 of a mile, so just a little over half a mile, are two businesses that have these Class 8 heavy-duty trucks waiting to be deployed. You've got Poncho's Wrecker Service and Chandler Concrete. Now, Chandler Concrete, I believe, is only Monday through Friday, but Poncho's is 24/7. So at any time, extra large, extra heavy, slow-moving trucks are using number 10 to get to their jobs. And again, this section of road and these two intersections were not analyzed for this traffic impact analysis. Okay, so we're looking at Google Earth. This is the field we're talking about. One thing with traffic, this section of 85, there's a 5-mile stretch that doesn't have an entrance or exit ramp. So if this part of the 85 gets backed up, this is what people do. They get off of 85, they come down 86, they turn on number 10, then they turn on Lawrence Road to 70, they go down to 70, all the way to Durham until they can get back on 85.
So anytime I-85 North looks like this, Lawrence Road looks like this, which is quite often.
Okay, I don't have anything else to say, so I'm signing off my part now. After I speak more video of my travels through the intersections, again, that were not analyzed, NC10 and Lawrence, to the south of the site that they tried to pretend doesn't exist. It's real time. Each segment's less than 2 minutes. I went, unless I dropped the phone or missed the button, they pretty much start at the intersection of 86 and number 10 and end somewhere around Lawrence Road, maybe Laney Drive, just south of the site. See for yourself how busy this road is and how ridiculous it is. They did not do an analysis at these intersections. So enjoy.